Yes, we are back in the Spider Farmer drying tent. It's now the 6th of April, which is day 12 drying. Humidity has been rising and dipping, so we've been trying to keep it on top of it. We've just turned these down for now, just so that it's quieter while we're filming. These have been averaging around 62% humidity, and roughly around 18 to 20, 22, something like that. Just been cooking in here, so yeah, it's a little bit higher, 23. But these are smelling real good now. Snapping these bits here. This is coming on nicely, but they're still just a little bit damp. So I reckon 2 more days with the extractor fan blasting out and the dehumidifier on should take it to roughly around about the right humidity. Temperature is rising. It's coming into, you know, mid-April now, so temperatures will naturally rise and we don't have an AC. But these are the harvests that we've ended up with. They're not too bad. Looking purple, looking frosty. We've got the frozen supersonic and the candy gas. So we're going to get these trimmed in the next couple of days. I don't know if we're going to do a 14-day dry. Maybe I might do a 12 or a 13-day dry. The tents upstairs are really starting to fill out now, so we really need to get all of this tent wrapped up and get more plants back down here for vegging, because there's not really that much space upstairs. So this is a little update. We've got 2 more days. I'll clock in again. Maybe we'll harvest these tomorrow and trim them up. Maybe we'll trim them up the day after. I should do 14 days, but I'm thinking it's going to be 12 or 13. Maybe I might even just trim up a little branch of pink milk now and see how that goes. Or maybe just do one of the candy gas, because that's the one that's really intriguing me, and that's the one that we want to re-veg right now. So maybe I'll just trim up one of these branches and see how it goes. So I've taken a little branch, candy gas. I'm going to trim this up now, see how it is. Obviously it needs a little bit of a cure as well, but that's a good thing when you're in your own little space and you're just experimenting with time and humidities and stuff. You know, I imagine that, like, of course, if you have all the equipment that you need to lock in temperature and humidity, and you've got full HVAC system and an AC unit and all the other stuff, like I manually empty that every 8 hours pretty much, and you know, so you got to do your best. But I'm going to try this now and forget about the cure, forget about anything else. It's smelling absolutely peng, so I'm going to trim this up and let's see how it looks in a couple of minutes. So back at the joint box, get some scissors out here, we'll give this a little trim. Definitely getting the lemon cherry gelato from there. Not too sure about the gas from the Hellcat, but obviously it's not cured. It's just on day 12 dry, but we should get a rough idea of what it could be like. I'm trying to smell it as well, but at the same time it's absolutely mental trying to smell it over the smell of that potato gratin and chicken. We've got garlic and onions bubbling out there. It smells absolutely banging. So trying to smell it, it does smell good, but all I can do is smell garlic. So just before that nice little home cooked meal there, we're going to trim this up. Hopefully we get some nice buds. It feels solid, looking a bit spiky, definitely looking organic. But yeah, let's get on to it.
Purchase your tracks today. Purchase your tracks today.
Alright fam, it's the 7th of April. So the day to start trimming these we had written down was the 8th of April. But we're just going to do it today, a day early. Another day isn't going to really make much difference. And we've also got the tester jar that we trimmed. I just trimmed it yesterday. So that was the candy gas. So that's been in there now for a few hours, well, overnight. And the buds are averaging out at 61%. So that's a tester jar, smells all right. Proper florally, a bit candy. And yeah, it's saying 61. So if that's been in there after a good few hours, you know, overnight, probably around 10 hours or something, it's been in that jar. Now it's definitely 61%. It's a good sweet spot. If we keep that in the cure with a few more of these branches, we might be able to average it out at around 62%. So today's the date. I don't want to suck any more moisture out of them if the ambient temperature and humidity in the jar is pretty much bang on. So we're going to trim these today. These have been averaging around 60, 65, sometimes 70% at night. The dehumidifier that was normally there, I take it upstairs at night because I've got two other sections of plants vegging up there, so I end up with loads of steam on the windows. So the dehumidifier has been down here during the day, and then it's been upstairs at night. So these have only had a dehumidifier for 50% of the time. We did have the humidifier on for a few days just to balance it out as it started to drop, but then the moisture retained in the plants and I didn't need the dehumidifier for pretty much the last 4 or 5 days. So 50% of the time the dehumidifier was upstairs. So this is the best I could do. It smells decent, it looks all right, it's looking frosty, looking crystally, but now I've just got to get it trimmed up. So we'll see how it turns out overall. Today, big trim session. Trim all these plants, and then we'll get all the vegging plants that are upstairs. They're going to be chopped down. We'll get all the big fan leaves off them, and then we'll get them ready for cloning. Try and make them a bit smaller as well, prune them a little bit. We're going to bring out the AC Infinity trim tray, and we'll get these buds into the grow bags. So we'll get all of this out as well. I could do a bit of a clean. It's been up here since the last trim session. So it's one of those days, trimming. We'll get the scissors cleaned, get some power clean, and wherever the scissors are too, should have some here somewhere. There. And then that's it, trimming day. Let's go, people. Right, so let's get these plants out and have a look. Now we've cleaned out the AC Infinity trim tray, give it a bit of a dust off and a bit of a wipe down with Power Clean. I don't really catch too much keef in here, you know, there's not exactly bags and bags and bags of buds going through this tray, so I'm not really focused too much on catching the dust or the keef. I have done it a few times. We put some frozen trim and we shook it up in a previous episode. I got about a gram or two of hash and then pushed it together. But today we're not really going to focus on trichome catching. We're just going to get these trimmed. There's not too much coming in here. Obviously, we know, like I said in the previous episode, this is a small harvest. It is what it is. These were just the plants that was available, and I didn't really want to throw away the mother plants, but we just flowered them anyway and took the clones. So we've made room for the bigger plants. Once all of this is trimmed, then some of the plants upstairs can come down here, and that'll relieve a lot of the pressure in the vegging tent. Once we brought the plants down here, the ones that are struggling, we're going to keep them down here for a few more days and then take some clones off them. The ones that are looking decent, they're going to go back up into the main flower tent, and we're going to switch them to flower just before I go away. So we're back downstairs in the basement. Trimming those buds is a lot easier when you've got a movie on, to be honest. So I've got some of these buds trimmed up. They're just loosely trimmed up. They're not properly done. I've trimmed them, but I've just left them on the stalk for now. And then maybe later tonight, I'll cut them off the stalk and then get the buds in there. But for now, they're just pretty much halfway done. It's a little process that I do. I chip all the leaves off them, get them all like that. And then one by one, when I feel like it again, chop them off into the bags. But halfway through filming that time lapse, I was thinking like, I might as well show you guys how I trim, because, you know, I don't know if I do it the right way. Do you know what I mean? I've got no professional experience. I just see what the machine does and try and replicate that, try and pick it out a little bit. And sometimes I get lazy and I just trim it right up the side. If the bud's not kind of formed, you know, if you've got solid, bigger buds, they're much easier to trim, but then the smaller and smaller the buds get, you know, it's not easy to trim them all, so I end up just shaving the entire side off, and hopefully it's fine. So we get a little trim going. Just going to find another pair of scissors because I need to clean the other ones, and then we'll get going. Here we have pink milk, candy gas, frozen supersonic, and the G-Wiz. So the way I really get these down, trim them, just try and get this close. So there we go. So how I get these cut is usually you want to just try and get basically just around the stem. So let's do, how can I do this better? Right, so we'll cut it off. Normally I do that last, but just for the sake of getting it closer to the camera and a bit more control. So what I usually do, you've got the bigger leaves here that are surrounding it. So you kind of just want to get in there and just clip off those leaves. I'm going to go all the way around and do the same. That one. Any more in the bottom bit here. Little one there. Get rid of that. And like just these smaller ones. There. 2 and 3. And you clean that out. Get a little bit more of the bud. Obviously, you kind of want to cut some of the sugar leaves off, but not all of them. So you want to get that bit out. There's quite a few around here. So obviously, people prefer to trim in all different kinds of ways. Let me know in the comments if you think I'm butchering it. I'm sure someone will. But these are, basically you just don't want those kind of leaves, right? There's nothing on that. You don't want those. Jog on. Get the next ones out. So when you start speeding it up as you start seeing them a bit more, you can kind of cut into it a bit faster. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you start to see these leaves, these sugar leaves. So these are kind of like covering it. But again, you don't really, that's not a bud. It's just a frosty leaf, so you want to get rid of that. And then you start seeing more and more of the bud. Just get the rest of these out. Clean it up a little bit. There as well. There. That one. This one as well. And that's another nice side. And just keep going around, slowly manicuring them. So you can do it as fast or as slow as you want. It doesn't matter. Obviously, if this stuff's going out to people and patients, and you know, I've got a massive business and people are going on about standard operating procedures or SOPs, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's my house. I'm just doing it on my own. No one even sees this bud, and it's obviously nowhere near as good as Top Shelf because it's homegrown, organic, but still got to kind of treat it right, make it look nice. Trim all these little bits off. It's starting to stink now though. This is the PMZ, permanent marker, across Kush Mints, across Skittles. And you start getting into those tiny little bits of bottom, I call them like skirt leaves, like a little bottom skirt. I'm sure there's a proper name for it. And then the buds start slowly coming together. And that is a stinky, sticky bud. So sticky. So we'll keep going around it. trimming it up a little bit, making it a bit nicer. Basically, I just don't want to smoke any leaves on there. Do you know what I mean? You just don't want any leaves. It doesn't have to look great, like I was saying. But man, it's hard. It's sticky, super sticky, and that's what we want. So we'll continue to do that. That's one. Got a few more on here. Obviously, people will be like, "Oh, you should be wearing gloves. Oh my god, I can't believe you're touching the trichomes." But mate, it's my house. This is what's happening. Sorry if I'm offending anyone. People thinking of butchering weed. But what else you do, man? Do you know what I mean? If no one else teaches you and you're just like, oh, cut off the leaves, you're like, all right, sweet. And then someone's like, oh, by the way, you're not actually cutting that right. And you're degrading the terpenes, man. Like it matters to me. These are nice, stinky buds. And if you're as chilled as I am, all you want to do is just get off them leaves, bang them in a jar for a few weeks, and blaze them when they're ready. That's it. That's all about home growing. I've got that perpetual cycle going now, so I harvest my plants every 9 weeks. In another 9 weeks, I'll have another 5 or another 4 plants, depending on how big I try and do them. That's the deal. So, if anyone would like to provide me more equipment to do a better job, I'm all ears. But for now, this is the way we're doing it. And I think that's sound. Don't tell me that's not a nice bud. That stinks. It absolutely stinks. This is definitely the best smelling of the tent. That pink milk smells alright. Not great. Candy gas smells good. Frozen Supersonic smells good, but I didn't cure it off well last time, so this time's a test. And the G-Wiz, I think I left the G-Wiz a bit too late. Definitely. That was a 55-dayer, 65-dayer, and I left it in there for at least around 70 or 80 days. So yeah, it could have had a better life cycle, but here we are. I'm in such a rush right now. I'm getting married in a week, and I've got loads of other stuff to do. I've got my actual job to do, and I've got this to do, and then I've got to edit it, film it, upload it. I'm sorry guys if the quality or the methods aren't up to scratch, but I am learning. So if you can recommend anything, put it in the comments. Let me know. It's the only way you can get through to me and tell me what you're thinking. I love to hear it, and I love to learn more as well. So some people can definitely help me. Let me know what I'm doing wrong. But that stinks. So we'll trim out a bit more here. It's pretty heavy as well, that bud, pretty dense. Try and get some of that out on the inside. Trim it around. Once we get all of these buds trimmed, we've then got space in the drying tent, and that'll also become the spillover veg tent, and we can get some clones sorted in there. But it is all just a question of space and time. It takes a while to get round to some stuff, and then when one area is ready to go and the next area isn't quite ready, you've just got to leave it in there. Have to leave it there until the next section's ready, unless I get more stuff and get a new section, but that isn't happening for a while. You can split these up as well, so if we just have like that, like gaps in between, you can trim all that out as well in there. You don't need any of that. Don't worry, you've not broken the bud apart. It's just a natural break in the flowers. Sometimes they're solid, obviously, if you do a great job. Sometimes if your humidity is off, or your lights have been off, or the temperature's a bit off, sometimes it can get a bit airy. But overall, if you leave them for a right amount of time and try and correct that, you should get a nice solid bud, at least at the top of the bud. Some of the bottom ones might be a little bit kind of airier, but as long as you dry them and cure them half right, then the area buds will still smell well. They just won't be as dense. But that's all right. So this is slowly coming into shape now. We keep on it. Definitely a good job to clean these scissors as well with the isopropyl alcohol. Really is the best. there we go. So that's an organic trimmed. So organically grown in living soil, hand trimmed, stinks to high heaven, PMZ. Permanent marker, cross Kush Mints, cross Skittles. Just a banger. So we've got a few big buds here. We've still got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 is the top one. So we'll get cracking on these. Doesn't take that long. You can still see all here now. And we'll just chip away at it, just underneath. Make that bud visible. You can see these buds are just covered by some of these leaves. Now some people like to wet trim these leaves, maybe for a humidity issue. I mean, obviously whatever reasons people have because different environments are just affecting everything all the time. But unless you've got a proper system where you can change your whole room, you're just going to be like me, manually doing it. Maybe you've got some little timer thing for your tent, but overall you've got no control over what's coming in through your windows, what happens when you open your door. Especially here, like I said, there's no AC. You've just got to take care of these plants. Yeah, this absolutely stinks. So we just got 3 more left. Top bud, 2 smaller ones. 1, 2, 3 for the hench one. Start off with the 2 smaller ones. And we're left with the final fat bud. All right. All right. And there's the last top bud. So it feels pretty solid. Down sticky, proper sticky. And yeah, stinks. So that's all of the PMZ 1. It's the short stacker. You can see how the buds are a lot more rounded, a bit more like golf balls. Just got a little stray bud here that's fell off. So as you can see, like, you start off trimming kind of with good intentions, and then by the time you're done, towards the end, you're just like, oh, for God's sake, let's just get it done. I honestly don't mind trimming, but you know, maybe I'm the type of guy that needs to use a trim machine. But overall, I've always trimmed my own buds. They've always been absolutely fine. Never had any problems with them. And that's it, that's all I want. Just nice little organic nugs. I know where they've come from. And they're sweet. So they're gonna go back into the Grove bags now. We'll give them a final weigh in. And then we'll get the rest of these ones sorted as well. So we have to trim through these, get all these bucked off. They're all trimmed, those ones, they're just not cut off the stems. So let's get them all sorted now as well. So, off the tiny little PMZ plant, trimmed and all done, we got 12 grams off that. So that's not bad, that's just under ½ ounce for 9 weeks. And the pot was tiny, like I said, it was a 5 litre pot. Got 12 grams off that, almost 13 grams. So yeah, just under ½ ounce for 9 weeks in a 5 litre pot. I'm happy with that, really I am. Like, it's not a great yield. None of these plants are a great yield, as I said earlier. We wasn't vegging any of those plants out. Those plants were just in the way because of those bigger ones that had to veg out for a bit. So we needed to veg out the other ones. I wasn't going to waste these plants. I wasn't going to wait again for another couple of weeks. So we'll just get the plants that are the most ready, flowered at once. And there you go. 13 grams, some nice stinky buds. Well happy with that. So that's in the bag. That's the PMZ 12Gs, no, 12.8. First bag sorted. My fingers are so sticky, look at that. I can't even, sticky. So we'll get all the next ones in and we'll do that rapid. So here's the frozen supersonic. Not too bad. So let's get these buds off and see how much we've got. Again, only tiny buds, tiny plant, tiny pot. Well, that's the deal. That's what happens when you do smaller plants. Smaller plants are easier to manage. You can sometimes get a better finish off them. Well, I can personally, I can get a better finish off a smaller plant than I can off a bigger plant. But I suppose that's just down to the skill of growing. Bigger plants take up a lot more water, a lot more nutrients, a lot more light. I tend to keep mine a bit more smaller. I will try and fill the tent, obviously, but I don't want massive plants that are going to take forever to dry. I already have a problem with humidity in this house, and just doing my best. These are some quite tight, nice buds in here. It's definitely a washer plant, an open kind of structure. Right, this one, 13.1. So not bad really, kind of close again. Some of these buds are nice. Not as big as I'd hoped they'd be, but they're definitely frosty and they smell good. So that's what we want. We want a good finish. It's not about yield here. It is kind of yield overall, you know. It's not always about the yield. Obviously it is about what you do yield, but it's not always about how much I can yield next time. It's just about having a consistent yield for me. So as long as I've constantly got buds coming in every 9 weeks, that's absolutely fine. But this will do again. Another, what's that, just under 13 grams. So they're both around 13 Gs. Let's see what the next one is. So this next one, Candy Gas, tiny little yield, just a couple of branches because this is the one we're going to try and re-veg. It does smell nice. I'm getting a lemon cherry gelato from it, but maybe, don't know. It smelled a lot better on the plant, to be honest, but. It's obviously me. I need to just get better at drying, better at doing some other things. But overall, the bud's coming on nicely. It's a smooth smoke, that's what we need. And this was the one that we put the tester in a couple of days. So we've left the dry buds in there. That's coming to 63 now. So 63 is just about alright humidity. Smells alright. Definitely smell it better. But let's see what happens in the next couple of buds. So this really should have been put into the grow bags. I've not been burping it. I've just been trapping it in there to see exactly what moisture's in there. But now we'll let it go anyway. And we'll trim the rest of these buds off. And then hopefully it cures off a little bit better. And we've got a bit of a better finish. But only time will tell. Right, so that's the Candy Gas trimmed up. Tiny small plant, let's see what we got. 8 Gs. We got 8 Gs from that one, that's not too bad. Just over a quarter zip. So we'll get that back in the bag and hopefully these can cure off now. Next one, the G Whiz. Don't know if small amounts is alright in a big bag. Someone let me know in the comments. Because I suppose it doesn't matter, but I suppose it might matter as well because it'll be like a huge... smells bad, this bag. This bag actually smells like sour weed from the time before. Oh, you know, like... I'm not sure if I should use that actually. That does not smell good in there. Shit. It's not the bud because you can tell you've been smelling that for months, you know what I mean? But the inside of that bag, it's kind of a bit gaggy really. It's got a lot of old bud in there. And I guess these are terp lock bags, which means it's letting out all the off gas. It's not letting out the terps, and right now these terps smell damaged. Wow. Maybe I'll try and find a better bag for that, or maybe clean it out a bit more. Maybe someone can let me know. Can you reuse grow bags? Well, we've got no other choice anyway, it's going in there. But let's see what we've got for the final weigh in here. These are only small little buds, but they're very purple, looking decent. So let's trim these off rapido. Do you know what, these are so small, there's not even much point trying to cut them off. Just pull them off like that, a bit easier. that top one off. Yep, that's way faster. That one's a bit on that. There we go. Can't pull them too hard. Sometimes you might just strip them of all the flour and you still want like the actual bud. There's a tiny little popcorn pieces on here, but they'll still do for me and my missus. For sure. So what have we got now? The G-Whiz. 12 G's. So again, so they're all averaging around 13. So 12 will do. Again, these were just, that was in a 1 gallon pot. So 1 gallon pot with 0 veg time. Proper purple buzz there. And last up is the pink milk. So let's see what we got. Alright, and the pink milk, which was the biggest plant in the tent, it had the longest veg time and it was in a 5 litre pot. We got 19.4 G's, so 19.5 G's. Again, it's a nice finish on that. It is stinky, but I'm just unsure about the actual terps. I don't know if it's for me. It's very different. It did smell really tropical and really orangey. Maybe I let it go too long. It was going for about 70 days, this one, maybe 75 days, because I had to let the other ones catch up. So maybe timing's an issue. Again, it's a great bud. Look at that. It looks decent. Smells all right. Solid. 20 G's of it. You know, can't complain. But overall, we can always do better. So they're the final numbers. I'll put them all up on the screen right now. And I am definitely going to go and try some of this PMZ one. So I'll see you after the break. Right, so let's see how this thing grinds up. Let's get rid of those. Who knows how this grinds up? Could be sticky, it could be shit. Oh, it breaks up kind of nice. Not bad for a first day. Let's just see, shall we? There's a bit of a twig in there, I don't really like that. Stinks. Boom. Oof, that is power. Happy with that. Oh yeah. All right. There we go. One fat doob. PMZ1. I haven't blazed PMZ1 in well over 6 months, so I'm very excited to try this one. It's my favourite strain. I do love PMZ2. PMZ2 is a little bit more Skittles, a little bit sweeter, but this PMZ1 is just pure funk, and it's so strong and chemically, gassy, a bit Skittlesy. It's mad how one pheno can be totally different from the other pheno, and at the same time be very similar. But for those that know, PMZ1 is my favourite. PMZ2 is usually everyone else's favourite because it's not a pain in the ass to grow. But PMZ1 tastes better and it is harder to grow. So what do you want? Do you want something similar that's easy to grow, or do you want to grow something harder and get a better end product, but you're not going to get much off it? So let's go and give this a blast, and then we'll be back for the next section. Right, so we're back from the PMZ tester doob. I'll be honest, it wasn't as good as I thought it would be. Still a bit harsh. Some of the taste is there, none of the Skittles is there, and all the kind of chemical gluiness is there. Just had me coughing all kinds of nuts up in there in the garden. So we'll leave that curing for the next, good few days. Obviously while I'm away as well. All them in the bags will be curing for at least 10 to 14 days from now, and then we'll give them another go. But yeah, a little bit harsh, and it wasn't really a good smooth experience. So we'll leave them in the bag curing for the next couple of days. But right now, these are not happy. Definitely not enough space in here. The pots are too small. So we really need to figure out what we're going to do with all of these. Overall, every single plant in here now, I'm just going to strip every single leaf off. All of these fan leaves, they're all getting in the way. They're all coming off, every single one of them. So I don't know whether to do this on a time lapse. I'll do this one first, maybe, so you can see what I'm going to be doing, and then we'll get it on a time lapse, because overall all we're doing is just cutting off these leaves and just making enough room to grow while I'm away. So basically this is just like trimming your hedges. Can we see here what's going on? Let's have a look. That's a bit better. So all of these major fan leaves coming off. So that'll do, just a rough cut. Just getting them all off. It'll definitely relieve some pressure in the tents. Also, we need a lot more airflow and light penetration getting to these newer growth spots. So as long as we get off all these huge fan leaves, it's a bit of a rush job, but we've just got loads of stuff to do today, and I've got 10 of these plants to do. So we're going to bosh them out. You've just seen there one by one, so let's get the next one done. So trim all this bottom stuff off, and then open it up a little bit. This is only a 300 watt light in this tent, and we can't always even have it to 100% because of the temperature issue. So we have to just maximize these branches. Most of this bottom stuff won't ever amount to anything just because the light's not strong enough. So we need to make sure that we optimize the plant and push all the growth and the energy up to the top. We don't want it to produce any of these new growth spots. We don't want them. Yeah, I think we'll just get rid of all of these bottom ones actually. Don't even want them. Still a big plant, but we don't need all that bottom growth there. Now we can start with the fan leaves. Right, and that'll do for the next one. Quick jobby job, but that will do. So that's 2 down. A few more to go. Just pick up the pace. Alright, number 5, that'll do. A little bit malnourished there, maybe we'll try and get this one in a bigger pot, definitely needs it. See what happens towards the last few days. So yeah, maybe we'll repot it, maybe we'll take some clones off it, but it's not in the best of shape, but That's the best we've got. So we've got another PMZ2 there in the middle. This one is a PMZ1, that's a PMZ1. These two PMZ1s are going to be a nightmare to train, so I might do those tomorrow, but right now we'll do the PMZ2 and then we'll get everything back in, and then we'll worry about repotting and clones tomorrow. So we've made quite a bit of space there now, chopping all those leaves off. It's quite a lot of leaves, chopped them all down, put a little tray back in there, so it's made it easier to feed these 5 plants. Definitely got much more room, much more airflow under there now it's all trimmed up. Definitely got some airflow under there, some room been made, and now we can get some clones off them as well tomorrow. So we just stripped off all the branches and all the nodal spaces off one of the PMZs. Didn't film it because I just started it and then I realised like, oh, should be filming this. So I've just done one, there's one, and this is how we're going to get the other one done. Basically, we want to follow all of these branches. We want to cut out every single thing inside there. So we're only left with these top bits. This is why it's pretty stressed out. All the nutrients inside this pot is trying to nourish all of these leaves and all of these new growth spots, and we really just don't want it. So this is what I was saying, the PMZ1 is a massive bush plant. We've already trimmed it out once, that was about 3 weeks ago, and look at it now, it's right back. So we've just done one, we'll get the other ones done. Let's go. There we go, as quick as can be. Chop all that stuff off there. Sorted, and that's ready for flower, and we can take a few clones off this as well when it veggies out next week. But for now, that's good to go, nice and airy, ready for flower. lollipopped and nice and fresh. So what I wanted to make sure that we do, I don't want to trim it out too much because most of these branches are all viable clones. That's a good clone, that's a good clone, that's a good clone. So just wanted to tidy it up a little bit, and then pretty much a day or two before we leave, we'll get this cloned and back upstairs, ready to flower. Yes, fam. So I'm going to cut the episode short there. It's getting up to an hour. I've realised that there's a bit of continuity errors. This is episode 4. I need currently also editing episode 5, and I need to get all that out at the same time. So this is going to be a 2-part episode. I'm currently speaking to you from the future. This is now like April the 27th. So episode 4 is at around April 10th, I think. So I've got the dates all mixed up, but because I've been away, the jet lag's kicking my ass. And I've just got all confused with the dates and the times. So this episode's stopping here, and then I'm going to do the next episode, episode 5, in the next couple of days. Bear with me, guys. I've had a lot going on, but it's all going to come down the line very soon. Wish me luck, guys. Joint endeavours. Peace out. Boom.